we're going to visit the Immortal Technique. This
Nice.
one has probably been mentioned. I think I know I've heard you mention it. It's been something I've read in comments. I think it's straight suggested. Cause of death.
Oh, that has been mentioned so many times.
Yeah, from like the beginning.
Yeah.
So I can't wait. I hope everyone's still alive by the time this is put out so that you can learn how you're going to die because this is it. This is Mortal Technique. Cause
Oh,
of death.
nobody gets out of here alive.
Nobody, baby. Nobody. But if anyone could find a side door, it'd be Immortal Technique. All right, let's check it out. What? What?
Okay, that was not
Immortal
expected.
Technique,
Right
Way,
on.
way out.
Revolutionary Volume 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Broadcasting live from Harlem, New York.
All right.
Let the truth be known. You better watch what the fuck flies out of your mouth, or I'ma hijack a plane and fly it into your house.
Okay. I'm just floored by every first sentence this guy says. He just fucking. There's no room to breathe with Immortal Technique in a good way. I mean, nobody. I say this all the time. I gotta stop. I don't want to repeat myself, man. But this guy just brings sledgehammers and just starts swinging. You know what I mean? And it's just
I mean,
it's a joy.
like, how did who? This beat is
Yeah.
crazy.
Well, the whole guitar and that's a live like conga drum somewhere on the street. He's recording this. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean,
Yeah.
he is he's Immortal Technique, man. I don't know what's going on. The music's got me so sideways. He's already flying planes into my apartment. That's
And burning your family tied to the couch. I mean, this
I
is
mean, it's just a track opener.
it's
Just
another Sunday, dude.
right, just another Sunday, just a little appetizer for whatever the hell else he really wants to tell us.
Right.
I love this, man. Let's go.
In your apartment with your family, tied to the couch and slit your throat, so when you scream, only blood comes out. I doubt that there could ever be a more wicked MC, cause AIDS-infested child molesters aren't sicker than me. I see the world for what it is, beyond the white and the black. The way the government downplays historical facts, cause the United States sponsored the rise of the Third Reich, just like the CIA trained terrorists how to fight, build bombs and sneak box cutters onto a flight. When I was a child, the devil himself bought me a mic, but I refused the offer, cause God sent me to strike with skills unused like fallopian tubes in a dike. My words will expose George Bush and Bin Laden as two separate parts of the same seven-headed dragon, and you can't fathom the truth, so you don't hear me. You think Illuminati's just a fucking conspiracy theory? That's why conservative racists are all running shit, and your phone is tapped by the federal government. So I'm jamming frequencies in your brain when you speak to me. Technique, a rip a rapper to pieces indecently, pack weapons illegally, cause I'm never hesitant. Sniper scoping a commission, controlling the president.
Vicious fangs spitting out. It's just like, wow.
I mean,
It's
just tearing everything. Like,
tearing
what?
it all apart. Like the whole thing. He's out for Armageddon. He's trying to like blow up the world like the literal truth bomb. Like
Yeah.
try with truth that he believes is right, just
Yeah.
annihilate. I mean, it's actually a surgical pleasure. I mean, it's unbelievable. His venom is so it's so raw, man. It's just so ridiculous. He's incredible. It kills me, and this was I could probably disagree with this track some more than I have in a lot of others. But
Yeah.
I'm It's not like I'm not going to recommend this to someone. You know, you want you want a banger, man. You want your blood to boil. You want to, you know, you're having trouble choosing something, you know, choosing what kind of, you know, drink to have or something. Listen to this song. I think you'll be able to make a decision real quick.
Oh yeah,
It's gonna jack you up, man. It's got me.
Great.
It's got me jacked up like crazy.
Father, forgive them, for they don't know right from wrong. The truth is set you free, written down in a song. And the song has the cause of death written in code. The word of God brought to light that'll save your soul. Save your soul, motherfucker. Save your soul. Yeah. I hacked the Pentagon for self-incriminating evidence of Republican-manufactured white powder pestilence. Marine Corps flak vest with the guns and ammo, spitting bars like a demon stuck inside a piano. Turn a Sambo into a soldier with just one line. So here's the truth about the system that'll fuck up your mind. They gave Al-Qaeda $6 billion in 1989 to 1992, and now the last chapters of Revelations are coming true. And I know a lot of people find it hard to swallow this, cause subliminal bigotry makes you hate my politics, but you act like America wouldn't destroy 2 buildings in a country that was sponsoring bombs dropped on our children. I was watching the towers, and though I wasn't the closest, I saw them crumble to the earth like they were full of explosives. And they thought nobody noticed the news report that they did about the bombs planted on the George Washington Bridge. 4 non-Arabs arrested during the emergency, and then it disappeared from the news permanently. They dubbed the tape of Osama, and they said it was proof. Jealous of our freedom, I can't believe you bought that excuse. Rocking a motherfucking flag don't make you a hero. Word to ground zero. The devil crept into heaven. God overslept on the 7th. The new world order was born on September 11th.
Jeez Louise, man.
Father, forgive them, for they don't know right from wrong.
Wow.
The truth is set you free, written down in a song. And the song has the cause of death written in code. The word of God brought to light that'll save your soul. Save your soul, motherfucker. Save your soul. And just so conservatives don't take it to heart, I don't think Bush did it, cause he isn't that smart. He's just a stupid puppet taking orders on his cell phone from the same people that sabotaged Senator Wellstone. The military industry got it popping and locking, looking for a way to justify the Wolfowitz doctrine. And as a matter of fact, Rumsfeld, now that I think back, without 9/11, you couldn't have a war in Iraq or a defense budget of world conquest proportions. Kill freedom of speech and revoke the right to abortion, tax cut extortion, a blessing to the wealthy and wicked. But you still have to answer to the Armageddon you scripted. And Dick Cheney, you fucking leech, tell him your plans about building your pipelines through Afghanistan and how Israeli troops train the Taliban in Pakistan. You might have some house niggas fooled, but I understand. Colonialism is sponsored by corporations. That's why Halliburton gets paid to rebuild nations. Tell me the truth, I don't scare into paralysis. I know the CIA saw Bin Laden on dialysis in 98 when he was top 10 for the FBI. Government ties is really why the government lies. Read it yourself instead of asking the government why, cause then the cause of death will cause the propaganda to die.
Alright, so the first Immortal Technique we did was Dance with the Devil, right?
I think so.
And that one leaves a lot of people speechless. Now
He's
this one
scheduled for
here,
60 minutes next.
that
He's going on French, British, Italian, Japanese television.
I don't know.
People everywhere are starting to listen to him. It's embarrassing.
I don't know what that was.
that's probably about Bush. Now, so the thing is, like, that song tends to leave people speechless. This one right here, like that opening line about flying a plane in the house and burning it on your couch and your whole family and all these things, and then it just runs into that topic, which is like, Let's be honest, right? Everybody had a conspiracy theory back then. You know what I mean? Like all these things you hear about now, where everybody was unified and friendly, and we were all in this together, kind of thing. Back in America, that is such a load of horse shit. Everybody was so fucking divided back then about that stuff too. Especially, I mean, people were
You're
blowing
getting
up
ahead of
like,
yourself a little bit. What are you talking
but
about?
well, I mean, this whole conspiracy thing, and like, there was definitely that Republican versus he's attacking Republicans and Bush and all those things, and all the things he's talking about are true. And short of actually blaming, I'm not going to go that far and say that the government did that. You know what I mean? But like all the things about the Halliburton and the pipelines and all this other stuff, he's just like that. Like a lot of that stuff is true, and people looked at all this stuff, connected the dots, and said, "Yeah, you're right. Bush wouldn't be smart enough to pull this off. So who did this? If someone did?" And it's just, man, it really blows me back to those times because I knew people from New York. Shortly after that, I left home, right, and I moved out of state. Met a lot of people from New York, and a lot of them talked about it, what they saw, and they actually had photos of it and everything, and God damn, what a time, dude! That was a crazy time, and everybody was
That
still
was a
trying to
crazy
figure that
time.
out back then. I
Yeah.
don't think we ever got answers really. They came out with a book that like the whole research book that they did, where they were talking about how it happened, why it happened, and how it worked out. But everything he's talking about was actually true and on the news, and it was just like at the end of the day, you know we'll never we'll never feel like we had the full story, even if we do have the full story.
There's usually
Um,
never. You could look at all of it the way Immortal did and have this anger and ire and desire to create this art that just smokes people.
yeah, yeah,
Or you could look at the same exact stuff and go, yeah, what do you think happened?
yeah,
It's I don't believe anything but 16 guys, did this, right? Under,
right,
like it happened. But the conspiracy, quote, not conspiracy, is that life doesn't happen in a day. September 11th is one moment in time, but you track it back. I don't know what he was talking about exactly in the 80s they were paying, but you could track it back to 1979, and the Americans, we gave tons of guns and most likely money to Afghanistan and Afghanistanians or Afghanis or whatnot
yeah,
to fight the Russians
yeah,
who were
yeah. That
invading,
was a
on and on and on. So it's like it's never, if you just try and encapsulate it like in a moment, everything seems like conspiracy. When you
yeah.
realize that this is just the reason why these guys did that day was born over many, many years prior.
Decades.
Decades. So it's not, there's no one switch or phone call or backwoods deal handshake that happens that makes some gigantic catastrophe occur. It's really a culmination of years worth of policy and bad shit and stupid shit. Humans do, because we're humans. We do this shit. There's bad people and there's good people. Period.
Oh, yeah,
Let's
I'm
just
with you. Totally, totally.
so I could look at Immortal Technique on this track, and I could say to him, "I don't believe you." I
Yeah,
could say, I don't believe you. I don't see it as you see it, as you tell it. I could say to you also, like, chill, dude. Like, what the fuck, you know?
well,
Have
I
is this your first beer? For real. I
well,
could say I could do that, and
right, right.
I could do what I would just rather do. It would be like, that was a banging track, man. That was a lot of fun. I got tired though. I did. I will say that toward the second half of the song, my exuberant energy wore off.
Yeah,
As
it's hard
it
to keep that up.
it is hard to keep that up. And he really wanted me to, and it just got heavier and heavier handed. It's great stuff. All that stuff should be looked into. The Halliburton, the I remember Dick Cheney in like whatever, say it was the 90s. It was the 90s. He was on television and they asked him, "Do you think you should go into Iraq?" And he gave this whole little spiel and how it would be we should never do it because going into Cabal and dropping Cabal would create a quagmire, of the different religions and people, and they lived so tightly together. It would just be a horrible idea. You really can't do anything with Saddam but sanctions. This is Dick Cheney, who was the same man 8 years later who sent us into Iraq to do that exact thing. So what the fuck, So that every piece of what Immortal mentioned here is worth an investigation.
Yeah.
Tying them all together, that's best left to Immortal, quite frankly. In my
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah.
But
I mean, I
but
agree.
it's still real interesting stuff.
I think if anything, it has to really sum up the anger that a lot of New Yorkers had.
How
You
about
know?
how about Americans, bro? I mean, all across we had that kind of anger was all
Yeah, oh,
over.
that anger was definitely there. That anger
Yeah,
was definitely there,
it
and
felt like that time. That was a weird time.
that was a weird, weird time. But man, like it's a good track. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was a
Thanks for all the
banger.
suggestions.
Yeah,
But
it's
man,
actually
it's just
drained me. It's drained me, and I don't, but uh, it's to credit to Immortal on that. You know what I mean? It's like wow, another brain zapping
maybe it was
blender
meant to drain
twisting.
you. Like
Yeah,
that second
right,
half
right,
was like,
right. You can't get through
whoa,
that
dude, are you really
alive. Yeah.
you're really going through all this now? I'm like,
Now you're
but it
going
just brought
here.
back the swell of memories. Because I mean, hey, it's 20 years ago, and it's hard to
I
remember a
never
lot of those things.
believed a
And
conspiracy theorist for a good 10, 11 years after the fact. I wasn't one myself, though I'm
right,
totally aware that it's just shitty people doing shitty things. But the advent of the internet in the way that we know it now has really opened those doors. So there's more out there, obviously, more investigation, more good videos made and all that stuff to where you could really investigate each of those parts that he was talking about, where we
mm,
couldn't do that at the time it occurred.
right.
We were just, that was it, man. 2001, I don't even, did we even have phones? We must have had phones.
Oh, I was one of the few people that actually had a cell phone. Like, I didn't know anybody with a cell phone back then. Maybe one or two people, but that
I
was
don't
it.
think I had
We
one,
all had
man.
landlines. Yeah.
Dude, it was
Like,
still corded landline. Good
yeah.
God.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like, and I think you're right. The individual people that took opportunities and used this to an opportunity, absolute pieces of shit
Yeah.
for it,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
you're right. To tie it all together, it's like, oh, by the way, we want all of this, and why don't we do this to make that happen? That's a little, that takes a certain level of evil that's really hard to,
It's not only a
it's,
super level of evil, it's a super level of ego because it's really not necessary to get what they want. If they have the
right, and it's
powers,
not necessary.
not
It's not
necessary,
necessary. Not
you
only
know?
that, but a conspiracy theory like that, I mean, someone's going to eventually talk, right?
Well,
Like,
that's what I say to everyone
oh,
who
by the
is a
way, here's the
conspiracy.
truth.
Every conspiracy theory friend I've had that, you would call them that too because they can't help themselves.
Hmm.
Usually they're phone, but they just believe every fucking
They have
thing.
ideas.
They have
Yeah.
ideas, right? But I always say I don't believe it, and they'll say, "Why? How could you not?" And I'm like, "Because I don't believe people. I don't believe in people. I don't believe people are smart enough, or or organized enough not to talk. You're talking
Yeah.
about like, or a huge cache of people that are in on some international global shenanigans,
Yep.
and somehow, since they're evil already because they're doing this stuff, they're not just a little bit extra evil where they would start talking and trying to make it work out better for themselves somehow. Like, they ain't keeping a secret, man. Nobody could keep the secret. That's why I'm not a big believer in any kind of conspiracy thing.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
But bad shit happens because of a lot of reasons over time. You got 30 years of a ramp up to 9/11.
Yeah.
I mean, of
Then
all
another
kinds
10
of
years
stuff.
and really 20 years still of the fallout afterwards,
Absolutely, we're
we still live
absolutely
under
in the
the hand of
fallout.
that. Yeah.
Absolutely
So,
true. Anyway, Immortal, thank you. That did it, man. See ya.
spent.
Yeah.